I'm here, a guest appearance today to deal with some of the issues and the questions that have arisen with respect to the digital tools that we're using for contact tracing. I basically just want to make 3 points. The first point is that good contact tracing is absolutely essential if we are to break this chain of transmission that characterizes this COVID-19. It enables us to quickly identify the patient, to provide treatment for the patient quickly, and to isolate them so that the patient does not infect other people. For everyone else who's not yet a patient, it is in our own interest to know quickly and early whether any of us have had close exposure to a patient who is COVID-19 positive. Why is this important? Knowing that we've been exposed enables us to take appropriate precautions for ourselves, and equally important, to take precautions so that we, in turn, do not inadvertently convey that virus to our own family members, our close colleagues, and our loved ones. And because over the last few months, we have also discovered that peak viral load occurs early in the evolution of the disease, and in fact, there are cases, pre-symptomatic or asymptomatic cases of transmission, that makes it all the more vital that we identify both patients and close contacts as soon as possible. I can't emphasize enough the need for quick identification, and this is where the digital tools come in. It used to take us about 2 to 3 days of intensive laborious work to reconstruct an activity map for each patient. And you need to bear in mind that sometimes by the time the patient is in and our contact tracer is trying to interview the patient, sometimes the patient is not even in a fit state to be able to provide all the necessary information. But today, with the digital tools which we have made available, I'm glad to be able to report that it now takes us less than a day from the identification of a patient to issuing the necessary quarantine orders to that person's contacts. This reduction from 2 or 3 days to less than a day makes a crucial difference. And it is even more important now that we are opening up. We're no longer in a circuit breaker. People are going to work, people are taking public transport, people are interacting more. This ability to move and identify quickly has become even more crucial. Now, one very useful tool so far has been Trace Together. And as of today, we have almost 1.8 million people who have downloaded and activated this app. 1.8 million in our context means about 1/4 of our population. And this, I must stress, has been on a voluntary basis. Now, we all know that in the case of the efficacy for these apps, the higher the proportion of people who've downloaded and are actively using it, the more efficacious it becomes, and that increase is exponential. So what I'm saying is that 25% is good, but it is not good enough, and we need to raise that number significantly. One barrier that we have had to increasing that number is the fact that not everyone has a smartphone, or a smartphone that works effectively enough to supply all the data that we need. So that's why we took a decision to expand the Trace Together program to include a device which we are going to call Trace Together Token. The device will operate and function exactly the same way Trace Together on a smartphone does. So here's where I need to emphasize and repeatedly emphasize. It is not a tracking device. It is not an electronic tag, as some internet commentaries have fretted about. In particular, and here to be technical, there is no GPS chip on the device. There isn't even any internet or mobile telephony connectivity. And what this means, if there's no GPS chip, the device cannot track the location or movement of any of us. Secondly, because there is no internet connectivity, there is no possibility of data being uploaded without the participation and consent of the user. So this is a crucial dimension that needs to be emphasized and re-emphasized. And the next thing which I need to emphasize again, to come back to trace together and how it works, is that the data that trace together, both on the phone as well as on the device captures, is only Bluetooth proximity data. And that data never leaves the device or the phone. It is encrypted, it is stored for up to 25 days and automatically deleted. The only time the data leaves the phone or the device is in the unlikely event that you are diagnosed with COVID-19. Then and only then is the data uploaded to MOH, and in the case of the device, you actually need to have physical possession of the device in order to hand over the data to MOH, and only a very limited, restricted team of contact tracers will have access to that data in order to help reconstruct the activity map, to jog your memory, and to work out the full range of interactions which a patient may have had. So it's worth emphasizing that there isn't one big, giant, centralized database. In fact, the data is decentralized and encrypted on phones and on devices, and only uploaded if it is positive. So again, I want to emphasize there is no electronic tagging, there is no geolocation tracking. This is only purely focused on Bluetooth proximity data and only used for contact tracing. One other point which has arisen is about data protection. Well, as I said earlier on, the first point is that there isn't one big, giant central database. Second, even the finite silos of data that are uploaded are protected by the public sector data security recommendations. The review committee will continue to oversee this and oversee this very tightly. All the officers involved are covered by the Official Secrets Act. And we will continue to audit and make sure that no data leakage occurs. We will continue to test the devices, test our systems, and remember, ultimately, the real test of the pudding is whether we can shorten the time from identification of a patient or close contact to isolation, bring down the effective reproduction number of this epidemic, and also reassure people that we are getting the balance right between protecting public health and protecting personal privacy. I believe it is possible to protect both, and we're going to do so in a manner which is open and transparent, and I'll be happy to take questions.